Coming up next on the Bell Howard Show, now you see him, now you don't. Well, now you can hear him. It's the infamous Australian magician Wonder Wiley on the show today. We'll get to the bottom of why he's in some serious hot water. Look out, kids. Grandpa's going to pull a rabbit out of his pants.
Welcome to Freedom Island. You're listening to the Bell Howard Show. And now, here's your host, Bell Howard.
Hello, folks. It's the Bell Howard Show coming to you live from Armenia and the 2021 podcast convention. You know, they have a podcast convention every year here in Armenia, and it's exciting. It's wild. And, you know, there's a lot of podcasters here in this country. I'd say in Armenia they have more podcasters. They have a higher podcaster density than most countries. In fact, they're second only to Canada in terms of podcasts. Currently, it's about one podcast per 6 people here, which is a high podcast density rate. And anyway, how I got here, though, is a story. It's a wild story. You know, I got divorced in Azerbaijan, which is the neighboring country. And then I just sort of scooted over to Armenia, and I didn't have a visa, though. I lost. Hello? That's weird. Something's going on with the audio. That's okay. Anyway, I got over here. It was kind of weird. I got back in touch with Wes, and I didn't have my visa. I didn't have my visa, and I didn't have my passport, which was taken away from me by the producer of the sitcom that I came here to do. And so that was stupid. He said, "Give me your passport. It's standard procedure." And I gave it to him. And I don't know if that's in my headphones or that's coming through the microphone, Wes. I don't know if you can tweak that. Anyway, Wes is here with me. And thanks to him, Wes, and thanks to my ex-wife, I should say, also, she told me where this producer was going, which was to this podcast convention. Now, I thought, well, I better go chase him down. Turns out Wes was going to be at the podcast convention here in Yerevan, Armenia, the capital city, promoting his new podcast, Fushigi Times. So I got over here with Wes's help, with Zarian's help, and I had to wear an old burqa. I disguised as a Muslim woman, and I got to the border there, and they just let me through. They said, you know, this old overweight Muslim woman, you know, God bless you and Godspeed to you, and they let me through. And I got to this podcast convention, and we tracked down the producer, and he was so sorry. And it turns out he was looking for me. That's the whole reason he came to the podcast convention. He said he lost my contact information, which is, you know, actually I think is BS. I think he had my contact information. He knew where I was living, and he knew Zarian. Zarian was actually one of the crew on that sitcom. Anyway, so he said, "Oh, I was looking for you. Here's your passport." So I got my passport back, and I'm with Wes here in this podcast convention. I'm having a good time. So things worked out for the best. I'm meeting a lot of people here, a lot of interesting podcasters. I'm going to interview some of these people while we're here. I'm going to talk to some of them, so that's going to be fun. Stick around for that. And I got some sponsorship. Wes and I are talking. We're going to redo the show. We're going to kind of work on the old format and kind of redo it, but we don't have a home base yet. That's the thing. I mean, we're still here in the Middle East. And so where do we go? Do we go back home to the United States? Do we stay here in Asia or Europe? You know, so those are questions we have to ask ourselves as we venture forth into the unknown. But venturing forth into the unknown is pretty much all I know. All right, folks, on the phone now is legendary magician, skeptic, and atheist, child magician Wonder Wiley. He was recently pronounced dead for failing to reappear within 4 years after a disappearing act, and under Australian law, they're very strict about that sort of thing. But guess what? Today on my show, he's reappearing. So we are lucky to have him, and he has a big announcement, and possibly, I hope, a trick or two up his sleeve. Calling from somewhere in Asia, according to recent FBI reports, it's Wonder Wiley. Hey, Wiley, rumor has it you're somewhere in Southeast Asia, maybe Thailand?
Not true, Bill. Not in Thailand. That's a false rumor spread by my wife, now widow, Winnie Wiley, in Australia. So
you're one of Australia's great child magicians.
Bill, I prefer the term children's magician.
Didn't you ever want to be an adult magician?
It's easier to get a license, but the reward is greater. I get to spend more time with children and
So Australia has a lot of laws concerning magicians, as I understand.
Australia is the magician capital of the world, but it only recently did they put a clamp on street magicians who were practicing without a license.
Sorry.
So
yeah, that's fascinating. So you were saying about children's magicians, because you're famous not only for entertaining children and disappearing during your shows, but also making children disappear too.
I mean, I can do both. I can entertain, I can make myself disappear, and I can make children disappear. But of course, I reappear them, and I can entertain adults as well as children. But seeing the spark in a child's eyes when they realise there's no God is magical. I'd say even spiritual.
And that's sort of your message to children, isn't it? But but why not just leave it at, hey, watch me saw this woman in half, instead of saying, watch me saw this woman in half, ergo, there's no God.
Well, Bill, a magic is a gateway drug to science. So if I can get children curious about how things work by teaching them a trick, and then that will lead them to being more curious about the world around them. And then it's a win-win. I mean, look at your country. You've got schools teaching creationism instead of evolution. So, I mean, we're just losing a generation of kids to this Jesus stuff.
So you just want them to be curious and to question everything.
Yeah, question everything. Look, like how did Jesus escape from a tomb in 3 days? Do your own escape act. It took Jesus 3 days to escape from this tomb, but tonight, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to do it in 3 hours.
Wow, I'd watch that.
You don't have to watch it. You can listen to it on your show. That's right, Belle. Tonight, I will perform the greatest escape act since Christ rose from the dead.
Well, I mean, if people can't see it, I don't know how it's going to impress anyone. I mean, we need to see you. And speaking of escape acts, your last one was a doozy. In fact, you didn't even reappear until now.
You still can't see me.
Well, you're not physically here, but you're somewhere, probably in a hot place.
Well, we don't need to go into that.
An Asian country.
Now, we don't need to keep narrowing it down, Bill.
But this is serious, Wiley. I mean, some people say you're in trouble, and I think we should address why.
I didn't come on this show, Bill, to discuss any allegations made against me. I mean, I wanted to promote my special, Resurrection, the Wonder Wiley Easter special.
It's November, Wiley, but really, we should address, there's an elephant in the room here.
Well, I mean,
what was that? Sounded like an elephant.
What?
But we have to know where you are if you want to promote your show, Wiley.
Well, I'm at a zoo. Could be any zoo in the world.
So this is your comeback. I mean, you're resurrecting your career on my show today.
We'll see, won't we? Stay tuned, kids.
Wiley, I'm honored, but we need to clear the air here. We need to learn the truth about what happened. Look, you're a beloved child magician, and I think...
Children's magician.
And Okay, and you've been pronounced dead, for crying out loud. The Australian authorities don't recognize you're even alive.
My wife, or excuse me, my widow, thinks I'm traipsing about in somewhere and...
Are you near a soccer game?
Sorry, is it too loud?
Hey, wait a minute. Are those elephants playing soccer?
I mean, no, that's silly. Elephants can't
Well,
play.
there's only one country where elephants play soccer.
I'm not in Thailand, Bill.
All right, I didn't say Thailand. Okay, it's a secret. Look, I want to follow up with something here. Now, you do a disappearing act at a children's hospital.
Really, Bill, I don't want to relive the past. I want to talk about the future and promote my special.
You disappeared along with 6 kids from that hospital, Wiley. Now,
But they got them back. The 6 kids came back.
but they looked different. In fact, they looked like they were from Thailand.
The families didn't complain. The children were much healthier when they returned.
They were different kids, Wiley.
I mean, I can't comment on the authenticity of those Australian children, Bill. What I can comment on is that I'm going to perform a miracle that Christ couldn't even do. I will be locked in a sealed stone tomb in an undisclosed
Thai
location.
food, get your Thai food here. Hot Thai food.
Look, ignore that, man. Who pat lao up pie? Thai food is popular all over the world. It doesn't necessarily mean
It sounded like you were speaking a different language just now.
I will be sealed in that rock tomb, and then I will reappear as the sun comes up and shines on the rock.
Well, listen, that sounds spectacular. And if you're safe, wherever you are, then...
Thai iced tea, get your Thai iced tea.
Shut up. Shut up.
Now, Wiley, I got to say, I'm looking at your socials now, and looks like you posted a picture of a tomb on Facebook. And
That's not it, Bill. I would appreciate it if you would stick to the subject. I have respect for you and what you do, and I don't feel you're paying me the same respect,
the
mate.
tomb is not a tomb, Wiley. The tomb is the name of a nightclub in Bangkok. And looks like tonight is Gothic Boys Night.
Bill, seriously.
There's a lot of young men in the picture here with makeup. And
Bill, I was going to perform one of my most daring and dangerous escape acts on your show today, but you just lost that chance, mate. You know, I've had enough, Bill. Goodbye. Wait for me, boys.
Wiley, well, I guess you're not going to do your thing. All right, then. All right, folks, that was Wonder Wiley, presumably in Thailand. I mean, we heard all the noise, so it sounds like that's where he is. Yeah. Well, folks, that's all the time we have for today. What a show, right? I mean, that interview with Wonder Wiley, that's an exclusive. I mean, no one's interviewing that guy, even though you'd think at least Interpol would be interested in an interview with him. Anyway, so an exciting show, and we'll be back next time. So Wes and I back in the saddle again, and you know what? I don't know where this adventure will take us, so we'll see next time where I am and where I'm speaking from. But you know what? Maybe next time I'll give you some highlights from the Podcasters Convention here in Armenia. So until then, folks, you know what to do. Stay safe, stay sane, and stay free. Bye now.